from one set story there to another, and that is of the mob justice incident that happened this past Sunday in Noordgesig. Now, the families of the two Soweto men who were stoned to death are demanding an investigation into their killing. The men were tied to a pole, beaten and stoned to death by a group of men in Noordgesig on Sunday. And the deceased were apparently accused of stealing a car battery, something their families deny. Now, no arrests at this point have been made. Our reporter, Malungelo Booi, went to have a chat, of course, with the family members, but also the police, because he's covering that story for us. He went to Noordgesig. And Malu, it's good to see you. Sure. So you've discovered then a little bit more on this story and what the families are saying at this moment following the incident on Sunday.
So let's go back a bit. So it was on Sunday night, and what we've been told by the families is that these two men were at a pub in Pennyville, which is near their community. And as soon as they were done going back to their community, we're told that they were confronted by a group of about 6 men. And those 6 men attacked these two men. And I mean, the way we've been told is that they had been accusing them of stealing a battery. And it's just how Thabo, the 2 men were killed. And I was talking to a sister of one of the men, Dalton Butler. He was 25 years old. She arrived at the scene shortly after they'd been called, been alerted that there was this particular incident. When she arrived at the scene, she said she found, Dalton, he was still alive, but his friend had already passed on. But let's take a listen to what Kim Pulse had actually said to us about when she arrived at the scene and what she had found.
They attempted to burn them, so they were going to burn my brother while he was still alive.
But they beat him up?
They did. They did. Apparently with a spanner, I'm not sure, and a rum from the tire. They took it and it drew his head, like he got a lot of headshots.
Thabo was able to see, in fact, an image of one of the deceased. He already, he had wounds on his head, and also there was a tire on his waist. It sort of like gives credence to the claims that, they were going to be set alight.
Any word from the community, Malu, about the history of these 2 gentlemen and their interaction in the community?
It's quite interesting, because when you speak to the families of these 2 men, they'll tell you that, well, the way they died, that's not how they lived their lives. So, and they're also of the view that, in fact, that because one of them, his clothes were taken away from him, and the other had his shoes, taken away. They're of the view, in fact, that the attackers actually took those clothes and probably took the money that they had, because they're saying that, well, these attackers clearly knew what they were doing. But I spoke to the brother of the second man that also...
And I want us to get to that brother of the second man as well, but also what the police are saying, any previous interaction with the law of these 2, and how close are they to making some arrests. But we'll get to that when we come back.